There's a set of words called high frequency words, and these, funnily enough, are the words that appear at the highest frequency in books in English. So reading is basically about training your brain to see that a set of squiggles on a page say a word, and it's all about sight recognition and being able to recognise whole words eventually. We start off teaching kids to read by learning the letter sounds and chunking words up into those letter sounds. But ultimately, when you and I read, we don't chunk words, not generally. And so that's a technique that we use temporarily until our brain learns to recognise the words as whole words. So this set of high frequency words, there's a set of 200 or so of them. And the first 50 of them, if your child learns those by sight, they will then be able to read about 35% of any book that you give to them. You can see from that that it's a massively helpful tool because it stops them from stalling over certain words that they're going to see time and time again. And for example, there are words like the, of, and, she, he, but, in, to. Some of them are words that you can segment and sound out, but some of them are words you can't. So said sounds like it should be S-E-D. It isn't. So children have to learn those by sight because they're not words they can sound out. Because they're tricky, we tend to call them in school tricky words. By the time your child can read the first 100 high frequency words by sight, then they're looking at being able to read about 50% of any book that's given to them just by sight. So it's a massively confidence boosting and fluency boosting ability to be able to read these words by sight. So why am I telling you this? Well, in order for your brain to be able to sight read a word, it needs to be able to see it about 100 times. And so this is why when you're reading a book with your kid and they sound out a word time and time again and you think, oh, you just read it, it's she. That's why they need to sound it out each time, because they need to see it 100 times at least before their brain will start to remember what it looks like. And that's where you come in, because in school, we can expose them to some of those 100 times that they see a word, but if you're doing it at home as well, it just speeds up. Their brain starts to remember that whole word and commit it to their sight reading word bank for use when they're reading sentences. So what's the best way for helping your child to learn high frequency words? The best way is through flashcards. Good old-fashioned flashcards like we had at school. And you can get a set of these flashcards from the Blossom website. There is the Blossom Guide to High Frequency Words. And it's got some games in there that you can play with those flashcards to help your child learn and remember these words, and to give you lots of chances to expose your child to these words in day-to-day life. So you don't have to sit down with them and labour it. You can actually play games and have some fun with them. You can learn these words alongside their initial phonics, and you come about 4, you can take the first few words, tell them what the word says, and just practice looking at them and remembering what that word says. They won't get it to start with, but over time they will start to remember 1 or 2 of them, and then as they do that, it's like remembering a little picture or a logo that goes with a word. You're making that association in their head. Digital guide that you download, you can print out and keep them forever. Print more out when you need them or when you've lost one. Print 2 sets to play some games. It really is one of the best ways that you can help your child